Good Erev Shabbos, Parshas Pinchas. In this week's Sedra, we have the transition of leadership, or the beginnings of the transition of leadership from Moshe Rabbeinu to Yehoshua. And Moshe Rabbeinu takes the initiative to suggest to Hashem what are the qualifications for his replacement. And interestingly enough, Hashem apparently accepts Moshe's good advice. Says the pasuk, Moshe speaks to Hashem, Yifkod Hashem Elokei HaRuchos, God, who is the God of all ruach, whatever that means, ish al ha'idah. He should appoint a leader, a person who will lead the congregation. Now, this euphemism, or this moniker, the way Moshe refers to Hashem in the pasuk, Hashem, God, Elokei HaRuchos l'chol basar, who is the God of all the ruach, of all flesh, the God of the spirit of all flesh, God who is the God of wind of all flesh. Well, what exactly does this mean, Elokei HaRuchos? And why does Moshe Rabbeinu not simply refer to Hashem as Elokei Kol Basar, the God of all individuals, of all people, Elokei Kol Ha'olam, the God of all the world? This seems to be a somewhat circuitous and a very detailed and elongated way to say something very quick and precise. The Mefarshim indeed seize upon this strangeness of language and suggest a few approaches. But before we get to the approaches, what's interesting to note is that when Hashem responds to Moshe Rabbeinu, he says, you know what, I've chosen Yoshua bin Nun. You know why I've chosen Yoshua bin Nun? Because he's ish asher ruach bo. He's a person who has ruach within him. So Moshe refers to Hashem as Elokei HaRuchos, the God of Ruchos l'chol basar, and Hashem says, "I'm going to choose Yoshua because he is ish asher ruach bo." So what exactly is going on here? The Or Chaim suggests that this phrase here of Elokei HaRuchos means God knows the ruach of all individuals. Means Hashem knows what is in the minds, in the hearts of all people, and therefore, what is being requested here is somebody who will be in sync with the people, on the same wavelength as the people. Hashem, you know what's going on in the minds and hearts of every person. And therefore, we need somebody who is going to be able to be in the minds and hearts of the people. And Hashem says, I've chosen Yoshua bin Nun because he's ish asher ruach bo, a person who has the pulse of the people. He has an inclination of where they are, and they are aligned with him. A leader cannot be so disconnected from the people or that he will not be able to lead them. So says the Or Chaim. The Oznaim L'Torah, Zalman Sorotzkin, suggests that if you want to understand what's going on in the pasuk, you have to read the middle pasuk. Moshe makes his request. God, who is Elokei HaRuchos, should appoint a leader. God responds, I've appointed Yehoshua, who is Ish Asher Ruach Bo. He has Ruach within him. But there's a pasuk in the middle. And the pasuk in the middle says that this person is a person who Moshe suggests to Hashem, is a person who's going to lead the people in and leading the people out, is going to be before them and bring them in and bring them out. It is in the context of a military leader. And so says the Oznaim L'Torah, Hashem, Elokei HaRuchos, the God of the spirit of all beings, appoint a leader, someone who will lead them to war and lead them carefully and lead them with responsibility. And Hashem says, you know who I'm going to choose as the leader of the Jewish people, who is going to lead these people into war? Because there's going to be conquest of the land of Israel now. I'm going to choose a person, Yoshua, Asher Ruach Bo, who has Ruach within him. What does that mean? Says Rabbi Sorotzkin, it means somebody who understands Lo B'chayil, V'lo B'choach, that we succeed in life not by dint of our strength, not by dint of our power. What is true power? What is true strength? What is the true power of the universe? Ki im biruchi, my spirit, the spirit of Hashem. That is what gives what provides the ultimate power, the ultimate success, the ultimate achievement. Who should be a person to lead the people out to battle, to conquest? Not somebody who thinks that it is all through dint of their own human initiative, but somebody who understands it is Ruach Hashem. As the Navi tells us, Lo b'chayil v'lo b'choach ki im beruchi. And Yehoshua is a person who understands it's the Ruach, it's not brute might that ultimately will bring success. So says Rabbi Sorotsky. If you look at the second time, not the first, but the second time that the word Ruach is used in the Torah tells us that the Ruach Hashem is the voice of Hashem is heard in the Ruach, in the wind of of Gan Eden. And Rashi tells us on that pasuk, excuse me, Rashi tells us on that pasuk that the word Ruach there doesn't simply mean wind, but the word Ruach has the connotation of direction. Right? The word Ruach can also mean direction. The eastern direction, the western direction, north, south. L'chol haruchos, all directions of the world, east, west, north, south. So what does Moshe say? Moshe says, Hashem, Elokei haruchos, the God of all directions, of all people. Please appoint a leader who's going to be able to take the people here, there, and the other place and lead them properly. And Hashem says, I'm taking Yehoshua because he's Ish Asher Ruach Bo. He has direction. It means that a leader has to be somebody who isn't going to flap in the wind like a piece of like a garment, like the flag flapping in the wind. Has to have direction, and that direction has to be Ritzon Hashem. Hashem is Elokei Kol Haruchos. God is the God of all directions, because from a divine perspective, all directions ultimately come from a point of truth, from a central point of where there are no directions, because all directions come to a point where there are no directions. It all emanates from Hashem. East, west, north, south, they all emanate from a central point. But a human being can't be in all directions, can't be flapping in the wind, cannot be simply moving in one direction because the people say one thing one day, moving in another direction because it is convenient the other day. I have picked Yehoshua, why? Because he's Ish Asher Ruach Bo. He has direction. The direction, of course, is Ritzon Hashem. Finally, will take us to Rashi. And Rashi tells us something that might seem somewhat difficult at first glance. Says Rashi, Hashem, you are the one who knows Ruchos Kol Basar. You know the Ruach, the spirit, the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings, the needs of every single human being. That's the kind of person we need to run the Jewish people, says Rashi, citing Chazal. Somebody who is, in the words of Rashi, sovel, somebody who can tolerate all the members of Klal Yisrael. That's a tall order to tolerate every Jew, to be sovel, to be a manig, a leader who understands the needs of every person, and to try their best to meet the needs of the people where they are. And there are many needs, many groups, many camps, many desires. And it's the ability to tolerate all those sometimes conflicting views, but still lead the people nevertheless. And Hashem says, I found a person, Ish Asher Ruach Bo, somebody who has the Ruach, somebody who can have a sense of what the people need. So what does this mean? How can a person really tolerate, how can Yehoshua be somebody who can meet all the needs of the people, i.e., to tolerate all these different viewpoints? Says Rabbi Tursky, in the name of his grandfather, that there is a consistent tension between my body and my soul, between my material impulses and desires and physical impulses, and my mind and my emotions. And to the extent that I follow my base instincts, I am allowing my physical body, my physical impulses, my physical desires to guide my life. But the role of a human being is to allow our ruach, our spirit, our emotion, our intellect to govern our physical bodies. Our physical bodies should not be governing our decisions, but our decisions based in intellect and mature emotion should be governing our bodies. Says Rabbi Tursky that Yoshua was ish asher ruach bo. He was a person who was able to put his spirit over his physical needs. That is to say, that his mind and his intellect and his emotions and his emotional maturity is what guided him. And when a person lives that way, he is given a bigness of spirit that he's able to see the other and be there for the other. When a person's guf, when a person's body is determining their decisions, then such an individual is a self-centered and a selfish individual in the literal meaning of that term. And such an individual does not have space in their life for the needs of others. Yoshua, says Hashem, was ish asher ruach bo. He was a man of spirit. He had space for others. And just as Yehoshua was an ish ruach, asher ruach bo, he was the person who was meant to carry on the mantle of the Jewish people. We should be the people that carry on the mantle of Yehoshua. Good Shabbos.